Hey guys, welcome back to LOI Fan TV. So today we're going to record our 2025 League of Ireland Premier Division predictions. Now, you're probably wondering, why is this taking place after match week 1? So basically, Ross is travelling right now and we were trying to find, a time for both of us to be free to record it, but it just didn't happen. So we're doing it a bit differently today. We're both going to record our independent predictions, put them together, and then, give you guys a bit of content. So, let's get into it. So, 10th place. A tough one because obviously, it's a full-time Premier Division. Last season proved that, there's not much between 10th to 1st. Like, everyone could beat everyone. So I went with a bit of a rogue one. I went for Sligo Rovers. So why to put Sligo 10th? And to be honest, the main factor for me was I just don't think Sligo have an out-and-out goal scorer, and I think it'll haunt them in the end. Whereas I look at all the other teams around them, I could pick out one player. I'm like, right, he might get double-digit goals. Just someone to get them out of the mess, or if they're in a slump, just to nick a dirty goal to get a 1-0 victory. I just don't think Sligo have that now. Don't get me wrong. There's some great players in midfield like Jada Kiki, Connor Malley, Jake Doyle-Hayes signed, and John Mahon would be looking to keep fit this season. He's a stalwart at centre half, and then Sam Sargent was a great coup from Waterford. So look, they've good players, but so does everyone else in the league. So someone has to finish 10th, and I decided Sligo. So that's why I have 10th.
What is going on, guys, and welcome back to LOI Fan TV. I hope you're all keeping very, very well indeed. And I am live from Thailand. Where am I currently? I am in Koh Lanta. Just moved on from Koh Phi Phi, so in Koh Lanta currently. And that's kind of the reason for the lack of videos leading up to the season opener last weekend. It was just on my way. I'm abroad. I'm traveling around. So this is going to be kind of the format from now on, filming on my iPhone. No crazy editing or anything like that, but just the basics really to keep things ticking over. I do appreciate you kind of bearing with for the time being. If you do want to enjoy the video, guys, please do drop a like on it down below, and please do subscribe. Now, I know we are a week late with our predictions for this season, and we'll be doing our league table predictions right here, right now. We've had a weekend to look at. Everyone played with a look at all of the teams playing this weekend, so you don't read it too much into the opening weekend ever, really. So kind of had our predictions locked in from before game week 1, really. So this just to kind of give, maybe I'll switch 1 or 2 places after game week 1, but nothing really major, to be fair. We'll jump straight into it with 10th place. This was tough, and there was like a kind of a section of the table where it was like from 10th to it's kind of a toss-up. It's going to be really tight, I feel. There's no real standout candidate for relegation. You're looking at 3 teams for me. I narrowed it down to 3 teams, and those 3 teams were Drogheda, Cork City, Sligo Rovers. Those are the 3. I'm going to toss it around my head. I think that's going to be my bottom 3, I think. And I've just opted for, this could be a bit of a shock, Sligo Rovers. It's the 2nd year in a row, and they proved me terribly, terribly wrong last season. I just don't think that they've done enough in the market. Lost their opening game to Waterford 3-2. Don't want to read too much into that, but I like the signings of King Cavan. I like Kiki. Kiki, I think, is a quality player, but it's just like they are passing too much responsibility onto them at such a young age. I think they might be. Lost Ellis Chapman, lost some big players, McGinty as well. They've lost some big players from that squad, so I just have gone for Sligo Rovers. I'd love to see them do okay this season and stay up and stuff, but it's just, I think it's a tall order. They could prove me well wrong and finish 5th or 6th again, who knows, but just for me, I've gone for Sligo in 10th.
So in 9th, I went with newly promoted Cork City, and I suppose the reason why I picked them, even though they have Shawnee Maguire and Rory Keaton up top, I'm not that impressed with their recruitment, to be honest. Losing the likes of Keane Coleman, their captain, he's in the PFAI First Division Player of the Year, Team of the Year. Barry Coffey leaving the club, and I just would have liked to see them sign a bit more experience. Like, for example, Shane Griffin going into Cove. I thought he'd be a great signing for Cork. There's someone with a Premier Division experience, won a few trophies. Kind of be good to go in that defence and really shore things up. I don't think Cork will have a problem scoring goals. It's just at the other end I worry for them. And I just think, it could be a problem. No matter, if you have Shawnee Maguire and Rory Keaton up top, if they're scoring 2 goals a game, I just see them conceding 3 or 4. So, look, you never know. The summer window might come and they might sign, an experienced centre-half, and that might change the dynamic. But as of right now, I just can't see anyone in 9th other than Cork.
In 9th position, then, I have gone for Cork City. And if you offered this to them right now, would they take it? Possibly, maybe not. They did draw their opening game with Galway 2-2 at Turner's Cross. It is an interesting one, isn't it? Galway on the other side, that could be down in this mix a little bit, to be honest. But yeah, I've just gone for Cork in 9th. I think it's going to be tight again. I just think they'll concede a lot of goals this season. They could be kind of really battling off to avoid that 10th position, but I've just gone for them to kind of nick away from that 10th spot and claim a playoff position. They will have goals on their side. I think Carl O'Sullivan actually went off with an injury, which is a huge blow, but Alex Nolan, Sean Maguire, Rory Keaton, there is goals on the side, so I think they'll score plenty. Greg Bolger, a bit of experience, so they might just have enough to nick a playoff spot, but it's going to be tight. Maybe they can surprise us a little bit, but I think it'll be tight enough now. So I've gone for Cork City in 9th.
So yeah, moving on to 8th. Maybe another surprise in my predictions, but I went with Drogheda United. And I suppose I was really surprised that people are saying they're going to finish bottom. I think they're the bookies' favourite to finish bottom, which I was shocked at, considering they won the FAI Cup, and just really the recruitment they've done in the off season. Now I know they've lost Dave Webster retired, Gary Deegan, his Appo's behind the scenes now, and Adam Foley and a few others have left, like France Pro moved abroad. So they have lost players, but I think they've signed really well. Like Conor Keeley coming back to the club is huge. He was so influential for them in his first spell. And then the first division recruits I was quite impressed with Kieran Cruz coming from Bray, Thomas Alua coming from Wexford. I just think they'll really step up as the season goes on, and Thomas like people like a Hui coming back on loan. James Douglas Taylor will be there until at least June. I just think they'll have enough. And I think it's one of these squads they'll still get better as the season goes on. And yeah, I just think even you look at the first game against Pats, really short up at the back. Luke Dennison in goals, really really solid performance from him as well. So I just think they'll have enough in both defence and attack to just narrowly steer clear of that kind of relegation playoff spot. So yeah, Drogheda in 8th.
In 8th position, yeah, it's Drogheda or Galway for me, and I've just gone for Drogheda. They're going to lose Douglas James Taylor halfway through the season, which will be a massive loss for them. He's a huge goal scorer. Defensively, very, very solid. Will Europe be a bit of a distraction halfway through the season? Possibly might distract them a little bit, add to their fatigue and not the great. They have a decent bit of squad depth actually now, to be fair. Kev Doherty's built a decent squad there, but it's a big ask from this season to keep going, and making that transition from part-time to full-time isn't easy either, but it has to be done for the long-term future of the club. And they got a fantastic result in the opening night against Pats away, 0-0. Great result. It shows they can get results in lots of games this season. I think they should be fine. I'd like to see them try. I'd like to, obviously Pro gone as well, which is a blow, but I'd like to see them avoid that bottom 2. I think they deserve it after the cup win last year and the European one and stuff. Hopefully they can have a good year. I think 8 and being in Europe is a great run. Maybe another run in the cup, so who knows. But yeah, Drogheda in 8th for me.
So yeah, in 7th, I've gone with Galway United, and that might be a surprise to some of you, but I just, second season syndrome, it is a thing, and I look at Galway's recruitment, and look, they've signed a lot of overseas players. I would have liked them to sign 1 or 2 more, Premier Division experienced heads. Like, I know you look at their starting 11 and they, players like Brendan Clark, Greg Cunningham, Conor McCormick, players that have been there and done that. But I just would have liked to see 1 or 2 more, kind of young players that have been around the league to just really add to what they achieved last season. Because to be honest, they did outperform themselves last season. Like, their defensive record was outstanding. Like a 40-year-old Brendan Clark probably his best year as the goalie playing for Galway. So it was unbelievable from Johnny Caulfield and Ollie Horgan. But I just think they'll struggle this year to kind of maintain that. But overall, I think to steer clear of relegation, the playoff, and just kind of get that mid-table spot, I think wouldn't be the worst season for Galway. Maybe going a little bit of a cup run. 7th
position, then I've gone for Galway United, and it might be a twinge of second season syndrome here for them, and they might flirt with relegation a little bit here. I think they should have enough to be okay. Will they concede more goals? I saw people saying, will they concede more goals than last year? Possibly, yeah. I think it's definitely possible. Conceding 2 to Cork in the opening night would lend itself to that theory. But yeah, Galway for me, I think they should be okay. I think they've enough about them. I know a lot of the forward signings they've brought in are a little bit unknowns and stuff, so it's kind of hard to know how they'll pan out a little bit. Maybe they'll have to go recruit a bit in the summer, but yeah, I think Galway in 7th is probably a fair assessment, I think, of where they're at right now. I think that's an okay season. I think they might have overshot themselves a little bit last year, so 7th I think is a decent position for them.
So yeah, moving up to 6th, I have Waterford. And the main factor for this is probably Keith Long, to be honest, because I just look at how he got on last season, even at Bows. He was always kind of outperforming the squad in which he had. And I suppose you look at Waterford and they've lost a lot. It probably hasn't been talked about as much as it should have been. Like, they've lost Barry Bagley, and they've lost Sam Sargent, Dara Power, Connor Parsons. Like they've lost a good bulk. Even like Asamoah at start last season isn't there anymore, and one or two others. So yeah, they've lost players, but at the same time, they brought in Tommy Lonergan, which I think is a great sign. And he really is kind of, we have Paul Jammond with the experience and size. Tommy Lonergan gives you something different, something a bit more quick. He really on the counter, he'll get you goals. And then you've Andy Boyle's experience at the back, which I think would be huge for Keith Long, kind of having someone like that around a young enough squad to just kind of really shore up the defence. And then obviously Matty Smith coming from Shells, re-signing for the club. I just think Waterford will have a good year this year. I think they have enough players like Ben McCormick as well, that maybe weren't as influential as they should have been last season. So yeah, Waterford is 6 for me.
Now in 6th, I've gone for Bohemians. This might be a touch controversial, possibly is, yeah. Especially after their opening day win over Shamrock Rovers, of course, in the Dublin Derby at the Aviva Stadium. Yeah, for me, I'm just a little bit concerned about squad depth in certain positions. I think Parsons looks a good player. If something happens to him or Rooney, they're very, very light out wide in the wing department. I think that's going to be a big factor for them. So maybe they'll look to bring in another winger before the window's up. That could change this position a little bit. I still think up top they're a little bit light. I think Mousse, it's going to take him a while to get up to speed. I think he has flashes of quality, bits and pieces. Can he keep going for a full season? Can he stay fit? Can he score the goals? Can he play more than 50, 60 minutes? This might take a long, long time. Colin Whelan isn't fully fit either. We all know about his kind of injury record as well. So the striker area does concern me a touch as well. I'd like to see him get another striker in. Even I'll touch on them a little bit. Some of Waterford's options you see. Are just a little bit better in Bowes, I think. So yeah, for me, I'm a little bit concerned about squad depth in key areas for Bowes. I think it could come back to bite them a little bit, but this could be way off. They could sneak 5th, maybe even 4th possibly. I've seen people saying they're in title debates and stuff. That's not the case for me, but I think that they could definitely sneak top half. But for me, I think I've just gone for him in 6, just based on certain squad depth in certain positions. Maybe Alan Reynolds as well, that factor as well. I don't think management wise he's as good as those top half managers, so maybe that's another factor too.
So yeah, moving up to 5th, probably my biggest maybe shock prediction in this for me, I've gone with Derry City. And just to clarify, I know we're doing this at the match day 1, but my league stayed the same, and if anything, the Shells game kind of cemented my thoughts on this. I just think Derry have too many, I wouldn't say the word lethargic players, but too many players that are on the wrong side of their career. It's great to lean boys, be players like lean boys, Shane Ferguson, Gavin White, great players, international pedigree. But I just would have liked them to maybe got a few, 1 or 2 more youthful, leggy players in their team. And I think it might just, I'm just trying to imagine Derry playing and seeing how it works. I just think it's just a lot. It doesn't. I just can't imagine it working as a team. And obviously Tiernan Lynch is coming there, a big job for him coming from Larne. His first year, he's learning too. And I just think, maybe be a bit of a transitional year for Derry. And don't get me wrong, they've good players like, Adam O'Reilly re-signed, youth player like Brian Maher. They have some youth there, but there's not enough, in my opinion, to really push on. I think they might just take that little step back this year as a little reset and maybe go again next year. But yeah, so I've Derry in 5th.
In 5th position, I've gone for Waterford, and I've gone from ahead of Bowes. Just the main thing is I think they've got good options now. Central defence, Andy Bull coming in. I think he adds a lot of experience. I know he got relegated last season, but he's an Irish international at one stage. Joins a kind of a good cohort of centre halves there. I think I looked at right full they brought in from the Netherlands. He looks like he could be a good option. And they've got plenty of forwards now brought in. Rowan McDonald in midfield pulling strings, and then they've got Matty Smith brought in, who I think Bowes could have done with just another option that can be versatile forward, can go up top, can play off to the wing, can play in the 10. Matty Smith, great sign. Obviously, poor Gammons still has the quality there. Martin Powell, 6'7" Dutch striker. Can't wait to see him get up and running. Tommy Lonergan, like they just have goals in that side. I feel Waterford, and that's why I've just gone for them. Don't think they'll suffer too much from second season syndrome or anything like that. I think they've got a good group of kind of international, LOI experienced players. Keith Long is one of the best managers in the league for me as well. He'll keep them going. So yeah, for me, Waterford in 5th position, top half finish, and a great season for the Blues if they can do it.
Yeah, moving up to 4th. Another surprise, you've probably figured it out by now, but I've gone with Bohemians. Yeah, to be honest, even before the Dublin Derby on Sunday, I've been really impressed with their business. Like Lee's moves say, like it speaks for itself, like, because it's brilliant for the league to have somebody of his calibre come in, and hopefully, he, brings his reputation and replicates that with goals on the pitch and solid performances, because there's no doubt of his ability. Then you look at other players that sign, maybe in previous years those fans have been highly critical of the recruitment model there, signing foreign entities that really haven't been around the league, and it's cost them probably. But now you look at players that sign like John Mountney, Niall Morahan, Connor Parsons, really kind of League of Ireland heads, good players. And even you look at how Niall Moran played on Sunday, he was outstanding. So yeah, I just think between Collie Whelan and Leeds Museo, I think they'll have enough goals between them to kind of get both up the table. And then obviously in behind you've fantastic players, and you've Dawson Devoy, you've Ross Tierney, even Lee Cavan in defence, you've Rob Cornwall and Keith Buckley coming back from long-term injuries, and then obviously in goals you have Trahazka and Talbot. So there's strength and depth all over the park in my opinion. So I just think Bows will take that next step this year. I think they're due, to be honest, because they probably underperformed the league in the last few years. So yeah, it'd be I think Bows fans would take Europe. It'd be a solid year for them. So yeah, Bows in 4th.
In 4th, then I've gone for Derry City, and I don't think this is a huge shock to anyone, and people might even be putting them a little bit lower based off the opening night. I don't think it's fair to jump to massive conclusions straight away. I think they'll probably still get top 4. They've obviously brought in a lot of experience, as we touched on previously, and Dana Lynch kind of fielded a question about the age of his squad. He came back with a kind of thing about wheelchairs needing Talca Park and all this stuff, and we were the ones that raised the issue, So but I think it kind of shows a little bit with their age of the squad, one of the oldest squads in the division. They have players that have good pedigree, good careers behind them. Are they kind of, where there's the motivation there for them to really go and get a league title for Derry? It's hard to know, isn't it? Hard to know. They didn't look great against Shels at all, to be honest. And that is a big concern. I know it will take a little while for Lynch to get things up and running and to get the new signings bedded in and things like that, but it didn't look good. So it's gonna take a while for them to bed in. I think they'll get top 4, but it will be 4th. I think that's their max potentially.
3rd, I've gone with Shelburne, and I know Ross won't be happy with this one, but I suppose I've been tossing and turning over this in the last couple of weeks, and I just think I suppose my main reason for putting them in 3rd is because potentially of what could unfold in the second half of the season. So obviously they're going to be in the Champions League, and if they get through one tie, they're going to have 3 cracks at Europe. And that'd be monumental for not just Damien Duff as a manager, but Shels as a club. And I think potentially, I think Shels are well within their rights to go on and maybe get a Conference League phase place. I think that'd be life changing for Shels as a club, investment wise. And I think if that happens, I think that be all hands to the pump with that. So I think that potentially could maybe skew Damien Duff's eye off the ball in the league. It'd be very hard to battle on 2 fronts. And then I suppose I look at the squad, and there's great strength and depth in midfield. You've Ellis Chapman coming in, Ryan O'Kane, Dan Kelly, some really kind of strength and depth. I just look at the defence, and I'm a bit worried for them, to be honest. Obviously they lost Cavan Malloy midway through last season. Now they haven't really replaced him. I know Cameron Levitch is playing there, and he's a solid operator in the league, but I just think if Paddy Barrett gets injured or Sean Gannon gets injured, there's no one really of that calibre to replace them. I know they signed a young lad off Liverpool left full, and I think that him and Tyreek will kind of they'll have that left full. They'll be fine in left full. But I just think John O'Sullivan potentially is a backup for Sean Gannon a right back, and then a centre half. You have you've Ledwidge, you've Barrett, you've Bone, and then you've young Lewis Temple. So it's just a bit. I would have liked to see them bring in another defender. and I think it might catch up with them, unfortunately. So yeah, Shells in third for me.
In third position, maybe controversially, I'm not sure, I've gone for the Hoops Shamrock Rovers. Now, obviously disappointing start to the campaign with that win, and I was nearly would have put them higher after the Molde result and then lower after the Bells result, back down to earth a little bit. And this just seemed to be able to set up well in Europe, and then it doesn't really translate as well in the league for whatever reason, but obviously they've undoubted ability in their squad. I think they're a couple of players away though. It feels like they have a lot of business still to do, to be honest. Maybe a centre half, maybe a couple of wingers, wing back players, and a couple of strikers. I think Green and Gaffney are probably past their prime, past their sell by date at this stage, and Noonan is way before his. He's can't really rely on too much. I know he scored the goal over Norway. It'd be great to kind of give him those Mason Melia minutes where you're not relying on him, but he can come in and have big moments and big impacts, but he's not playing 90 minutes week in, week out. It's not fair on him to be doing that at his age. So a lot of work to do for Rovers. I know they've been linked with Asamoah Jr. from Wigan, a couple of different players, so I think they need to get a few bits in the door, to be honest. But yeah, big concern about Shamrock Rovers, but we'll see how they get on in the rest of the window. But for me, I just think Europe been a bit of a distraction. Looks like they could go through again, which will potentially affect the league, and I think they might have a slow start to the league again. Year on year since we happened, they're having a slow start to the campaign, and I don't think they can afford to do it again, but they could. And for that reason, third position for Shamrock Rovers.
Moving up to second, I have my beloved Shamrock Rovers. Pains me to put them there, but I just think, kind of looking at the strength and depth in their squad, I just don't think it's enough to win a league, unfortunately. And don't get me wrong, I'm really happy with the players we brought in, like Matt Healy's of great European calibre. Ed McGinty, we've needed a goalie, since Alamana's retired. Young Michael Noonan, he's got to be, probably the next big 7-figure departure from the league. So yeah, look, I've really kind of liked what we've done in America, but I just think we need 1 or 2 more players. I know we've been linked to Asamoah, and the Wigan player needs to play for Waterford, and potentially Jonathan Afalabi could be coming in the summer, but I just think we need someone now. Even though you look on Sunday, and you have 3 players going off injured, and you're really emptying out the bench as far as experienced players go, and then there's just 16 and 17 year olds. As great as that is, on your first game of the season, you don't want to be that light in numbers, and I think just over the course of the season it might catch up with us a bit. Especially the deeper we go in this campaign and then Europe in the summer. I just think it'd be very hard to battle on multiple fronts with the strength and depth we have. Even you look at centre half, we've Lopez, Grace and Cleary, and then beyond that, we've lost Sean Hoare to Pats, and there's no real established centre half ready to come in there if something bad happens to one of those 3. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things with Rovers. I look, the window's still open, you never know, business could happen, but as of right now, I just don't think we have enough to finish top of the pile.
In second, I have gone for St. Patrick's Athletic, and they obviously opened their season up with a 0-0 drop to Drogheda United at home. And the thing I like about Pats was that they got their business done very, very early. They got in Bagley, they got in Palmer on a permanence, they got in Connor Carty more recently, to be fair, but that's kind of a backup striker. Sean Hoare got in relatively early as well. There might be someone else I'm missing there, but yeah, they got their business done early. Impressive business, and they had an impressive end to last season, but it's just this is the same squad again. I said it last season, they finished the season great, they had no pressure on, they kind of just playing catch up, they can do whatever, win 9 games in a row. It's not going to be enough, but it's a great end to the season, and everyone has them as favourites, and then when everyone has them as favourites, an even playing field, they crap the jocks, whatever you want to call it, they shit the bed. And that's what St. Pat's have done for years now. They haven't really in their league campaigns, they just haven't really, that squad, there's a cohort of players there that just doesn't really seem to get it done on a consistent basis in the league. They've won cups in fairness, and granted, and they've had some big performances and big displays, great nights, but a consistent stem of results in the league, they can't seem to do it, and they can't seem to get over the line in league titles. And with the money they've spent now, I think there's big pressure on Stephen Kenny to deliver a league title to Inchicore. I'm just not convinced that he can do it, and if they don't, not going to sack him obviously, but this is a big loss, and it's a big blow. And yeah, it's just this team just doesn't seem to be able to get it over the line for whatever reason. I don't expect to do it again. I've been saying it for months. Let's see how, ignore the end of last season. Let's see what they're like when the pressure's really on them. Let's see how they go. Not a great start, was it?
So yeah, moving up to first, I have St. Pat's. Now look, probably no surprise to you guys, like they're the favourites. And I suppose the main reason why I have them there is like you look at their last signing, Connor Carty. He came in like what was it, like 3 or 4 weeks ago now. They have a settled squad. Like they're out in Spain. Stephen Kenny's really put the squad together piece by piece. Like there's been no panic buys. It's pretty like every position has 2 or 3 players. Like even you look at striker, you've Keane, and then you've Mealy, and then you've Carty. Like it's unbelievable. Like and then like it's just even out wide. You have Albazzetti and Mulroney, who you'd expect to start, and then you've Brandon Kavanagh, who I think he might have got the most assists in the league last season, and then Simon Power from Sligo. So like it's just one of these things. Like some weeks when you have the Friday games and squads get thinned out, like Drogheda have found out last season, being the only part-time club. I think, your Shells and your Shamrock Rovers will probably be a bit found out in those games when their squad's really, threadbare. Whereas Pats can probably afford to make 7 or 8 changes to a starting 11 and still, be of a similar standard to what their best 11 would be. So like look, Stephen Kenny, he's won it all. He's been in the league for years. His success at Dundalk could be the 21s with Ireland. Obviously, the Ireland spell didn't work out maybe as how he would have liked it to work out. But like you look at kind of their form towards the back end of last season, and it was outstanding. Like they nearly caught the top 2, considering where they were when he took over. And I just like look. I know they drew the draw. Like it is an ideal start, but like it's a long season. Like I heard there, I think I was reading on Twitter that his best season with Dundalk, they drew the Bray at home on the opening night. So like. I don't really read too much into match day 1. It's a long season. I just think Pats, over the course of 36 games, have the deepest squad. And to be honest, I just think they win the league. And if they do it, rightfully so. And fair play to Stephen Kenny.
And finally, my champions, all bias aside, genuinely, I've gone for Shelbourne to regain and retain. Damien Duff's side have got off to the perfect start to the season, really. President's Cup win, 2-0 win over Drogheda. At Tucker Park, and then of course backed it up with a 3-1 win over Derry City in Tucker on the opening night as well, which was a great result for them. Boyd with 2, which was a great to get him off the mark in the early doors and to really kick on now. Odebeko looked threatening. He looks like he's going to click. He's going to click at some stage. Looks a real threat. I think the 2 of them, they can keep them fit. What a pairing. John Martin on the bench to come on. You've got a couple of different options. They seem to be playing a little bit differently this season with kind of narrow wingers. Kind of think Harry Ward kind of playing out on the left, and it's a Caffrey up the right kind of thing with Coyle and Macaron in the middle. More narrow, doesn't lend itself to Ali Coots and Tullocks who you have on the bench to make a difference. So it seems like they've a really good strength and depth there. They're bringing in some lad up from Liverpool, I believe. Norris is it? So really promising signings coming in for Shell. So let's see how they can get on in the next little while. But I expect them to start the season strongly again. They look fit, they look sharp, and I think they could just have enough once again. Unless Champions League comes in and plays a bit of a factor and they go a long way in Europe, maybe the squad depth to be tested, they drop some points and other teams will capitalise. Could well happen. I just have a feeling Shell's going to nick it again this year. Who knows?
Yeah, as I said, like look, last season was unpredictable for the most part, and I think this season will be a bit the same. We'll probably look back at these predictions and laugh in 6 months' time. But look, it's brilliant for the league. Like even the Aviva having 33,000 people at a league game, is just the league's going in the right direction. So with a bit of investment in facilities and the standard in playing will improve, the crowds will go up, and long may it continue. So that's my prediction for the 2025 season, guys. Please like and subscribe, and we'll try get some more content out for you guys. With Ross, we'll probably get a league fixture predictions, and then a bit more for you guys as well over the coming weeks. So cheers guys, chat soon.